For you, thank you for another day. Thank you for allowing us to arise in our right mind with health in our bodies, strength in our limbs. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to once again come before you to give you all the honor, all the glory, all the praise that you deserve. Thank you so much for all your people who would tune in and listen to this message as you have given it to me, Father. Help me to give it to your people. Let it feed the hungry. Let it bring peace and comfort to those in distress. In Yahushua's name, hallelujah. Glory. The question or the statement is how to walk in the wisdom of Yahuah. How to walk in the wisdom of Yahuah. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm running a little late today, but I just want to let you know that I probably won't be doing these every day. I will be cutting back as my workload is increasing, and the prep time just to do these lunch breaks is more than I realize, but to Yah be the glory. I will do them as he instructs me to do. So today, again, how to walk in the wisdom of Yahuah. The first focus scripture is Ephesians 15 through 17. Ephesians 5:15 through 17. And I'll start by reading the Book of Yahweh scriptures, and then I'm going to go into reading the English Standard Version. So Ephesians 5:15 and 17 says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, or aware of every action, not as fools, but as the wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be unwise, but understanding that what the will of Yahuah is." So I'm going to read that in the English Standard Version to help bring some more clarity. It says, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is." So what is the will of Yahuah? Some folks say Yahweh. But what is the will of Yahuah? Because if you don't know what the will is, how will you be able to walk in his wisdom? Genesis 1:28, I'm reading from the King James. This is the command that Yahuah gave to Adam and Eve. And us being descendants, it applies to us as well. So Genesis 1:28 says, "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." The word there that stood out to me was subdue. He's saying, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it. Now, there's a colon after the end of subdue it. So that could have been a period, meaning, okay, that's the first sentence. Then the next sentence would be, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. But there's a colon there that's adding them together. So that struck me because that could have been a period after subdue it. But what does subdue mean? We know what it is to be fruitful, to be fruitful, to be bountiful. They're meaning to fruitful and multiply, have seed and have offspring, multiply, make a lot of babies, if you would, because it was just Adam and Eve. So now we got to put humanity into the earth. So how are we going to do that? By reproducing and replenish the earth. But then subdue it. So the word subdue, the verb, means to overcome, to quieten, to bring under control a feeling or person, Similar words for subdue is to conquer, to defeat, to vanquish, to get the better of, to overpower. So now that we understand the word subdue, who is the ruler of the earth? Because something about the earth had to be subdued. Think about that. The earth was barren, if you would. There was nothing in the earth to subdue, but to subdue the earth, when we look at the word subdue, it means to overcome, to quieten, to bring under control a feeling or a person. Well, who's the person that was being referred to? Because remember, you and I are the descendants of Adam. So what was said to Adam and Eve back in Genesis 1:28, it applies to us today. Who are we to overpower? Because we, as human beings, were given dominion over the fish, the fowl, and every living thing that creepeth and walked upon the earth. So what were we supposed to overpower, defeat, to vanquish? Another focus scripture for today is Luke 4:5-6. And it reads, "Then the devil, taking him," who's him? Taking Yahushua, "up on a high mountain," well, he was fasting for 40 days, right? "Showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time," like in a flash. "And the devil said to him, all this authority I will give you, and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish." So we understand from Luke 4:5-6 that the devil, the adversary, is the one who has power, rulership, authority over the earth. Because it says right there in Luke 4:5-6, it says, "All this authority I will give you." Mind you, this is the adversary speaking to the Son of the Most High, letting him know what is already known in the heavens, who really has authority, who has a rulership over the earth. Even though the Father commanded Adam and Eve and his descendants to what? Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. But he also put in there, don't forget this last piece, subdue it. Though the enemy, the adversary, the devil, Satan has rulership and authority over the earth, he still told mankind, I have given you the power with wisdom to subdue the earth. So how to walk in wisdom of Yahuah? Well, it requires knowing whose you are. Who do you belong to? And taking authority through him. Because see, the devil said, all this authority I will give you. He was speaking to the Son of the Most High, knowing his authority. You, should I say it then, need to do the same. You need to know what authority you have and through whom your authority comes through. Your authority comes through the Son of the Most High, Yahushua. Your authority comes through having him as your Messiah. Because in the statement, it says, in the wisdom, you got to have wisdom. You got to have wisdom, folks. Not as the world. You got to have wisdom. Because you have to be mindful of the example of your walk. Be mindful of what your life demonstrates, what it shows. And you have to make good use of the time given to you in this life. We all are appointed a time to die. You have X amount of years on the earth. You have to make good use of that time. What are you doing with your time? Are you wise in how you're spending your time? Well, are you? Because I'll read it again. Ephesians 5:15-17 in the English Standard Version says, look carefully than how you walk. Examine your walk. Examine your kingdom walk. Examine the way people see you. Is your life reflecting wisdom of Yahuah? Is your life reflecting wise choices? Making the best use of the time that you have, because the days are evil. And I don't have to come on here and tell you that. You can look around and see that for yourself. The days are evil. What are you doing with your time? For those of you that tune in, and for those of you who are adamantly just working to gain understanding, revelation, and knowledge because you're spending time in the Word of the Most High, you're praying, you're fasting, I would say you are making wise choices with the time that you have. But that's only a part of it. Because all that learning and all that revelation that you're getting is not just for you to keep to yourself. You need to be able to give it to someone else. You need to be able to share it with someone else. Because your days here are numbered. We need to perpetuate the information, the knowledge, the revelation. Because obtaining all that information, all that revelation and knowledge for yourself, I would say makes you a fool. Because you're not here forever. You have to pass on from generation to generation. Because Ephesians 5 verse 17 says, therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. You have to understand what the will of the Father is. Because if you are gathering it all for yourself, and for those of you who say, well, I can't have children, there are many people you can adopt. There are many people you can call your own. You don't have to legally adopt them. How about you just take in some people into your heart and give them some time? And you know, they got the program here in America, Big Brother, Big Sister, where you mentor. You know, you mentor some children or you mentor some people younger than yourselves. I'm not saying you got to go out there and adopt no kids. I'm not saying if you can't have children, oh, woe is you. No, there are many ways you can mentor people. I'm doing kind of mentoring right now. I'm teaching many people who I'll never meet in person, but I am mentoring them through the things that the Father has given me. I'm passing on knowledge and revelation and understanding, not keeping it to myself and taking it to the grave. Because in a way, I am doing the command of Genesis 1:28. I am being fruitful. I am multiplying through the seeds I'm sowing in the lives of others who I've seen use and quote everything, and some things that I didn't even know someone heard. They quoting it and they sharing it. And I'm like, wow. So in a sense, I am being fruitful. I am multiplying. I am replenishing the earth with the word, the wisdom, the understanding of the Most High. And I am doing my best to what? Subdue it. How am I subduing it? I'm walking in wisdom. I'm spending time with the Father so that when the adversary comes the way he came at our Messiah, declaring he has all authority in the earth, I am reminded of whom I belong to, whose I am, who I have declared as my Messiah. And I'm saying, but my Messiah overcame. He overcame. He overcame this world. And through him, I am washed white as snow. I am purified by the blood of the Lamb. I have the authority because he passed on authority to you and I, those of us who accepted him as our Messiah. He gave us authority. What is it that is claiming authority over you? Think about that. What is it that you have let subdue you? Because the word that the Father gave to our father and mother of the flesh, the ones that created all of us through their line, through their seed, we became. The instructions was to subdue the earth, to subdue it. It's like in the natural, you know, your parents or your family or your grandparents or great grandparents, they owned land or whatever. They own a business per se. And generations later now you come, you didn't build the business, but you have authority to work there. You have authority to have access to the money in the bank, etc., etc. Why? Because you are a seed. You have the inheritance. You have the authority, the right to that business, to that land, to whatever it is that was passed on generation to generation. In the spiritual, it's the same thing. We have the right that was passed from Adam and Eve down the line. Now, everybody didn't take up the authority. They threw it to the wayside. They walked in unwise walk. They walked in unwise counsel. They didn't take upon themselves the truth. So they missed out on the authority. They missed out on the rights that the Father had intended for them. It's like I got the key to my car. I have the right. I have the authority. I got the documents in my name saying that this is my car registered in my name. I have the authority to drive that car. Now, my child understands that that's mine and that's theirs as well. But until they take the keys and operate in the car, they really don't walk in the blessing of walking in knowing whose they are. But mine, I must say, in that regard, walks in wisdom, because they will let you know that this my house, this my car too, because what? This belongs to my parents. So in actuality, what is theirs is also mine. So be like a child. Sometimes we as adults, we need to think like children again. Children, they don't even see all the obstacles. They just know what they know. You know, little kids be like, that's my daddy car. That's my mama house. That's my daddy house. This my daddy stuff. This my dad. They put emphasis on the word my, meaning that's mine too. This belongs to me. This is ours. You have been given the authority, but unless you walk in the wisdom of the Father, unless you understand Genesis 1:28, you're just walking around defeated. You're just walking around in lack. And lack doesn't always mean physical stuff, because I'm talking also about spiritual lacking and spiritual understanding and wisdom. Some of y'all probably ain't read Genesis 1:28 in a good hot minute. Many of you may never have really read Luke 4:5-6. You heard it, but you never probably really read it. There's a difference between reading things, comprehending, and taking it in. So your homework today, this afternoon, is to meditate on Ephesians 5:15-17, Genesis 1:28, Luke 4:5-6, all of which are in the description of this video. So you don't have to write it down. You just go back there and look. Read those things, understand them, meditate on the word, understand whose authority you have. Because by doing so, you'll know how to walk in the wisdom of Yahuah. But if you don't know what the wisdom of Yahuah is, then you won't know how to do the walk. You won't know how to stand. Because I bet you now, if you ask, here's a challenge. I want you to ask at least one person today, not somebody who don't profess to be a part of the kingdom, but ask somebody who's in the kingdom. What is the wisdom of Yahuah? I had to go look it up myself. So I'm not, I'm not better than anybody else. I really had to look that up myself. What is the wisdom of Yahuah? Now, many people come up with some stuff and whatnot. It sounds good. That don't mean it's right. So how did I come up with that? Well, logically, I was like, well, it must be at the beginning of the book, right? What is because when I Googled that, is like, what's the wisdom of Yahuah? There's plenty of things that popped up, but I was like, okay, a lot of this is like in the middle of the book, New Testament. Wait a minute, what was the first thing that he said to man? The first thing he said was not to eat of the tree But we know they broke that, so he had to give them something else. Because that's void and null now. One, we ain't even know where the tree is. So he had to come up with a plan, another plan, plan B, if you would. He's like, all right, I'm going to kick you out the garden. But here's what I need you to do. He gave them his will. This is my will for you. My will for you is that you be fruitful and multiply. My will is that you take command over everything. My will is that you replenish the earth, but also to subdue it, because he already knew who was in the earth. The adversary was in the earth. The adversary was in the garden. Ooh. So if you came on late and you don't understand how to walk in wisdom, listen to the replay. It's quite simple. It might shock you where you get the information from, because like I said, a lot of the scriptures that he has me quote are some obscure, some little hidden gems in the word that makes me not only think when I'm reading it, but it opens my eyes spiritually to see a new revelation. And that's what these lunchtime breaks are all about. Getting some new nugget that'll really propel you further than, I could come on here and I could hoop and holler, I could come on here and pray and all that, and I could come on here and give you a catchy title, something to tickle your ears, but that's not what I'm coming on here to do. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to satisfy your flesh. I'm here to help you with some spiritual growth, get some spiritual revelation and understanding. And I understand now why things are the way they are. I understand why it appears, and I put that in parentheses. Listen, I'm talking to some people on here who are listening to this live or replay. This is what the Father had to remind me. He said, don't look at what it appears to be. Don't look at how it seems to be. You got to remember the story of the tortoise and the hare. Listen, the hare was fast. The tortoise was moving real slow. Enjoy the pace of the race that was set before you. Don't worry about people overtaking you, lapping you, coming back around and be like, you still here? This as far as you got? How come you ain't further along? Well, I'm over here and I'm doing, listen, don't worry about that. The word said in Ephesians 5:16, make the best use of your time because the days are evil. People at the bottom 1 minute, at the top the next, and their life is not reflecting, their walk is not showing that of wisdom. Be mindful, people. I say it all the time, and I keep saying it because I keep seeing you doing opposite of what is being said. Don't be falling for the trap. Don't fall for the trap. If the life that anyone is living is not reflecting, one, walking in wisdom, why you all up on that? Why you all kiki and kaka? Why you all cheesing all about that? If their life is not reflecting the wisdom of Yahweh, Yahuah, if their life is not being one that is fruitful and multiplying, again, you don't have to be having a bunch of kids. If you can't have children, you can mentor. You can still sow seeds in the lives of others. If their life is not touching multiple lives, if they're not replenishing the earth with the word and the will of the Father, and most importantly, if they're not subduing the enemy, the ruler of this world, why are you running up and being their number one cheerleader? The one you should be doing the pom-pom rallies for is Yahusha, lifting up the Most High. That's who you should be cheering. That's who you should be rah, rah, rah for. Not for man. And if you find someone who is walking upright before the Father, okay, give them adoration and give them encouragement and say, you know what, I could roll with this person because they ain't all about the woo, 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 and the bam, 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 and the ching, ching, ching. Let me break that down because I know a lot of y'all be like, what did she just say? Woo, woo, woo is talking. I learned that from some friends of mine. You know, woo, woo, woo. Out west, they say woo, woo, woo. That's just words. Words, no action. Bam, 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 making a lot of loud noise, beating on drums. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ching. That's the sound of the cash app when somebody send you money. Hello? Did you catch that? If not, listen to the replay and then pause and you'll let that, that'll drop in your spirit because I see that all the time. Woo, woo, woo. Bam, bam, bam. Ka-ching, ching, ching. Are you making good use of your time or are you just on the bandwagon like everybody else? There's a party going on over here, so I guess I'm going to go over there too. Why don't you just figure out, first of all, do I need to be going to that party? First of all, who's going to the party? In this life, a lot of people cannot just cherish some quiet time. It is evident by the things they post. It is evident by the words they say. It is evident by their walk. Ephesians 5, verse 15 says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise. Everybody running to the fire. What you running to the fire for? You need to run away from the fire. Everybody running to the fire with their cell phone so they could catch it on film, so they could post it and say, I got footage up close and personal. Flames jump. Fire jumps. A flame can jump over a barricade and burn something or someone. It would behoove you, it would be wise of you to run in the opposite direction of the danger instead of running with the masses towards it so you can build yourself up and say, y'all check my post, y'all tag this, y'all share this. Make this go viral. What? What? Why don't you make viral the thing that the Father said? Why don't you make viral, replenish the earth with His word? Why don't you be fruitful and multiply by mentoring some other people, mentoring them in the ways of the Father, giving them some hope and encouragement? Why you don't do that? Why don't you let your light so shine that you prove to everyone that sees you, I am subduing the adversary? Yeah, sometimes you may fall and things get a little rough, but you know, okay, when the fire gets hot in my life, I need to fast and pray. I need to shut down the world, shut out everybody, and spend time with the Father. I need to get in His presence. Monday is not that popular a day on social media. I know that from marketing, but like I said, I will be doing these as often as the Father tells me to do it. Right now I'm scheduling to do it every day at lunchtime, but today He said cut back because you've given enough right now for people to really chew on. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour sermon or teaching for you to get information. I'm giving you information that should just sit in your spirit and resonate for several days. And like I said, it takes time for me just to prepare this 30 minutes. And He said, okay, you have sown enough. Give them a chance to chew on this word. So with that saying, I will be coming on as often as I can, as often as the Father releases me to, because I still have things to do during the day. And often, honestly, my lunch break is not at noon. I usually take lunch much later in the day. But I'm taking this time because why? I am doing Ephesians 5:15. I am looking carefully at how I walk. I am doing verse 16, making the best use of the time. I know a lot of other people go to lunch at 12, so they on social media, so might as well give them something good to listen to. I am doing Genesis 1:28. where it says, I am being fruitful, I am multiplying, I am replenishing the earth, and I am subduing it. Because while I'm busy studying the word, listening to the Father give me revelation, and then passing it on to you, I am subduing the enemy. Because I am empowering people with the understanding of who they have authority through, what authority they have. They have been given authority above everything that concerns this earth, including the one who is the ruler. Let me say this in closing. Let me put this in a way that I hope everybody can hear and understand. You go to a kingdom, and the kingdom has a ruler or a king or a queen, or a king and a queen. Now, they have authority over that kingdom. But here you are. You got no royal blood in you. You got no name per se in the natural. But you have authority over the king, the queen of that kingdom. Because your authority comes from a spiritual place. And we all understand that the spiritual world gave birth to the physical world. If you don't believe, go back in Genesis and see how that came about. There was no Big Bang Theory. From a spiritual perspective, it was spoken, and it was, and it is. Can you imagine walking your little self up in the front of kings and queens, knowing you have authority over them? Seriously. That's the mindset I want you to have today and going forward. I'm not saying you go before people with high position and you be arrogant and you be pompous and you just be full of yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying understand that you have authority over kings and queens and rulers of this earth, because your authority is spiritual, which supersedes, which overpowers the physical. If it didn't, why would so many people be dealing with witchcraft? If the spiritual world had no power over the physical. That's food for thought. I love you. You guys have a great day. Share the video. Hopefully it will bless somebody else. And I'll see you soon.